As the swords swing and the demons burn, the sun rises on the Berserk universe. And with it comes the arrival of everyone's favorite villain, Griffith. The final episode of the first season of Berserk was pretty damned fantastic. Not only did we get a great conclusion to the end of the Tower of Conviction arc, but we also got the arrival of some amazingly badass characters. The Kushans are attacking, Zod the Immortal shows up transformed into his apostle form, kicking all sorts of ass. Not only that, but we finally have the arrival of Griffith, a character so badass he doesn't even have to have any dialogue. I think my favorite thing about the final episode of Berserk is that they announced a second season! That's right! Coming in spring of 2017, we're going to get the next arc of Berserk. And it's an arc that I think all Berserk fans have been waiting for, because we are finally going to see the Berserker armor! My love for you is ticking clock, Berserker! Aside from that, I almost have no complaints about this episode. The only complaint I have about the final episode of Berserk is that there was way too much time with Nina. Screw this character. I don't care about her backstory, or any of her bullshit relationships. I didn't care about it in the manga, and I don't care about it in the anime either. I don't care that she survived, I don't care that she hid away in a barrel, and even though those monsters should have been able to see through all the cracks of the barrel and completely eat her alive, I just don't care. She had way too much screen time in the final episode, which should have been fully devoted to Guts, Casca, Griffith, the big reunion, and not only that, but Zod. What I will say is that I loved this episode, though. There was some imagery in here which truly captured the essence of Berserk. Not to mention, I love how this arc actually came to a close, because they've been trying to survive the night, fighting against all of these demons, which thrive on night itself. Yet when they finally reach daybreak, which should be a sigh of relief, things somehow get worse, with the arrival of the Kushin, Zod the Immortal, not to mention the rebirth of Griffith, who has now taken form in the real world, looking a lot like his original self. He is a god hand who can exist in the real world, essentially making him a living god. What's also really cool is you have the character of Zod, who is missing his horn, by the way. This is a scene that is really important that they didn't really get into that much, but what's really great about Zod is that before he was always kind of a singular character, always looking out for himself, just thinking about the next big battle with the Skull Knight. Now, he's essentially the right-hand monster of Griffith. I love when he busts through the wall, ripping through all of the Kushin's Dynasty Warrior style, which is actually going to be a reality soon, which I think is pretty freaking awesome. And then he kneels right before the Demon King himself. It's a really fantastic scene. Not only that, but we got to have Guts and Serpico and Isidro and frickin' Jerome fighting against the Kushins, which was just as explosive and bloody as you could expect. Of course, Guts was awesome, just taking out multiple people in one big swing, but then you have Serpico, whose fighting style is so different, so elegant, and yet still very deadly all at the same time. Seeing him and Guts fight together is just a dream come true. It's fantastic. Another thing this episode had going for it was just that the imagery itself was just really fucking creepy. Just really disturbing. Especially when you have all of that evil energy which is rising up into the tower, which is taking the form of a hand, where you can clearly see the members of the God Hand hanging out on top. This just looked really creepy to me. It's the type of thing that I think would make for a really great anime music video, just for the fact that you could choose some really good creepy music. I would recommend using Tool. That's just my humble opinion. At the end of the day, however, this was a surprisingly simple final episode of the season. I mean, it is a little convoluted in a sense that you have this egg, which has been used as this vessel to allow Griffith to come back and exist in the real world. But aside from that, it's pretty simple. It's just watching Guts and everybody try to survive the night against the demons, only to see Griffith at daybreak. However, there are some scenes in here which are just so metal in, like, ways that I can't really describe. Like, the scene where they're at night and they're trying to survive against all of the, like, blob demons, and they're trying to burn them all away. The pep talk that, I'm calling it a pep talk, that Guts gives to Farnese, where he's telling her, "Don't pray! Hold on to your torch, it's the only way that you're going to survive." It's a really interesting way of him, like, basically saying, get rid of your religion, let it go, it's not going to help you here. If you want to survive, you're going to have to fight back. And that's been one of the biggest things about Farnese in this series, is that her entire foundation has been completely rocked by the arrival of Guts. She is now questioning everything about her religion, and by the end of the episode, even decides to leave the Order and follow Guts. This is going to end up being a very important part of the story, as Guts is essentially going to begin his brand new party. He's going to start his brand new organization with people following him. This is basically the Band of the Hawk 2.0. That might have different meaning when we get to the second season, but I don't want to spoil anything for people who don't read the manga. What I will say is, the episode ended perfectly with Griffith and Zod flying away, Guts and Casca giving chase, and then, of course, that big final scene at the end where we saw the preview for the next season, which, oh my god, actually shows the Berserker armor. That's what's got me so excited for the next arc, is getting to see that Berserker armor. It's one of the biggest, coolest things about the Berserk series, and it's kind of a game changer for the series. I call it like the Super Saiyan moment. It's where things really start to get crazy from there, and I just cannot wait to see what they're going to do with that. What I will say is this episode right here was a great conclusion to an otherwise okay adaptation of the Berserk series. So what's the rundown on the final episode of Berserk? This was pretty much what you would expect from the series. You know, I wouldn't say that this adaptation of Berserk was perfect in any sense of the word. A lot of that having to do with its art style, which has been very contentious amongst fans of the series. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I don't like the CG a lot of the time. I think it actually looks really shitty a lot of the time. A lot of the times, it makes the characters straight up look like puppets or Muppets, and they don't seem like they have any life that has been breathed into them whatsoever. And then occasionally you'll have these moments where it's just traditional 2D animation and artwork, and it looks fantastic! It looks like it jumped right off the pages of Berserk, and it really makes me wish that they would stick with something like that, and hopefully they will listen to the fan base, because they have an opportunity to rectify this. I mean, there are still enough cool moments in this arc to actually allow me to recommend this for Berserk fans, but if in the next season they just decide to go full-on traditional animation with it, I will be completely okay with that. They have to listen to the fan base on this one if they want to save the Berserk anime series. They've already made some big missteps by skipping some crucial arcs and some small parts of the backstory that a lot of people wanted to see. I wanted to see the arc which involved the character of Rosine, who is this apostle demon who's like this giant moth fairy, and that arc is in many ways not really needed. It's just an excuse to see Guts fuck up demons, but I want to see it. It looks awesome, and it's a little bit of development for the character. We get to see him actually obtaining his weapons for the very first time. This is stuff that I think would have been really crucial for the series, and if, again, they want to rectify it even more, they should just go back, choose that arc, turn it into a movie or an OVA, and just call it like a special. That way we can at least have it be a part of the series, although they're probably just going to ignore it. That being said, there's still enough good moments from this Berserk adaptation, and a lot of that great Berserk atmosphere, which is something that I think is really hard to capture, despite the fact that the Berserk anime series from the mid-90s didn't have the greatest animation, and a lot of times it was basically just still images with a lot of screaming over it. What it did have was atmosphere. The music, the smaller, shorter moments between the characters, they always managed to hit you right here. The drama didn't overplay the action, and the action didn't overplay the drama. They were a perfect mixture of each other. That being said, of course, this series had some issues, the biggest one being the CG animation, which frankly just looked crappy most of the time. There are certain characters which I think do benefit from the CG. I think the Skull Knight in particular looks really awesome. I think that the Apostles, the big monster ones, when they're CG, actually works, because they're otherworldly creatures, and the way they move almost doesn't look like something you would see in the real world, so that CG in some ways does actually sort of benefit them. However, for regular humans, a lot of the times it just looks like garbage, especially when they do like combinations of 2D and the 3D artwork. It's just a really bad marriage. That being said, I really do think this was a pretty good adaptation of the Conviction arc. It had some amazingly haunting imagery and a lot of great action scenes. We have to admit there were some pretty great action moments in this. Pretty much all of them involved Guts. I think they did Guts really well in this series. It's a shame that this arc doesn't actually have that much of Guts in it, though. Like, he's there at, like, the crucial moments, but a lot of the times, we're following a lot of the side characters in this arc, like Luca and Nina, and I like Luca a lot more than Nina, and Nina just absolutely drives me insane. The whole story with her and Joachim and everything, like, I just don't care. Like, I can't believe they were deciding to end this episode with all of that crap. They could have trimmed the fat on all of that and given us some more scenes with, like, Guts and Casca, maybe even end it with a big final moment with Griffith or something, and they didn't. It's kind of a shame in that sense. Finally got this arc of Berserk animated. I finally got to see some Black Swordsman material, and I finally got to see what I've been wanting to see for a long time, which is everything that is post-Golden Age arc, which is the stuff I'm most interested in seeing at this point. And the fact that we are eventually going to see the Berserker armor is just so fantastic. That was something that I was so afraid that they were never going to be able to get to, especially because they have that brand new Dynasty Warriors Berserker game that is coming out, and you are going to see the Berserker armor in that, and you're going to get to play as Zod and his demon form and all that shit, and seeing that made me realize, like, oh man, it's such a shame that they never got there in the anime. But it looks like they are going to get there. We're just going to have to wait till spring. So wait until the flowers can bloom so that we can see them covered in blood with the return of the Berserk anime series. What I will say is the final episode of the first season was pretty good. Overall, I would give this entire season, like, out of 5, probably a 3. It definitely had some major issues and it was kind of average, but it had enough really, really cool moments for Berserk fans, and I think it's something that all Berserk fans should at least check out once, as there is some anime original material in this, not that much, but it is there, and it's just got enough cool moments that any action anime junkie should definitely enjoy this one. Not to mention the music in the series is just awesome. All of the metal moments, all of the music by Hirasumu, or whatever his name is, who does like the Hi-Yo theme and did the music from the original Berserk. It all just added so much to this one, which honestly kind of saved it at the end of the day. Without that, without the atmosphere and some of the cool action scenes, this would be a pretty crappy anime right here. But still, I think it was pretty solid, and I'm really excited for the concept of the second season. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with it, however. If they're going to continue to use this animation style, it's being done by the same animation team, so it could happen, but I only pray that they are going to listen to the fan base on this one. I'm right here, animation team. We don't want the CG animation anymore. We want more traditional 2D styled, hand-drawn look to it. Give us that. That's all I'm gonna say. What I will say is, this was a pretty decent finale right here, minus all of the bullshit with Nina. So I'm gonna give this episode right here a 4 out of 5. Check it out, Berserk fans. You might see something you like. Anyone else who is curious, I recommend reading the manga first before diving into the Berserk anime series. You might actually be a little disappointed, but that's the beauty of this anime right here. Even if you don't like it and you don't really care for the animation style, the manga will always be there for you to read, so make sure to check that out. So, you heard my thoughts about the final episode of Berserk, but I want to hear from you guys. What did you think of the final episode of the first season? What did you think of the entire series overall? Did you like it? Were you disappointed by it? Did you have any favorite moments? What do you hope to see from the second season? Please tell me in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching this review. I truly appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and check out all the cool links we got in the description box below. Like our weekly podcast show, The Powerful Nerdcast. Yes, that's right, it's pretty frigging awesome. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.